The
NohBob.
Not too bad, not too bad. How are folks doing today?
Not bad at all. A few audio issues we're working through. Hard disk issue we worked through. Now we're cooking along and sounding good, and everything should be good. Hey Sev, how's it going?
uh, Happy 10th anniversary DDO. I'm so super psyched to be a part of this cast. The game has been actually a large part of my career while I've been here at Turbine and stuff like that.
No, that's right, because you have actually been here. You were here at the start.
Yeah, well, I was a little bit later. I was about a year into it. I joined the team. I started as a systems designer, working mostly on doing. It was mostly treasure and some background systems and stuff like that. And then for a couple of years, I wandered off and then came back and started working on dungeons. Love the work, and I've always liked working with the property and working for DDO because great players, lots of fun, a good deal of creative opportunity. I mean, my favorite job that I've had so far in the entire industry has been working on the dungeons in DDO. They're great. It's a lot of fun. You get to do a lot of silly things.
Right, and you've gotten to do, everything from, say, item creation to system work to content work. Most recently you did quite a bit of work with our last, say, 3 or 4 adventure packs, like Trials of the Archons, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was sort of a fun process to getting to meet and sort of work with the players now after a little bit of a break, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, some of the quests, like I made Grim and Barrett, and I thought it was kind of fun to get a chance to, make a big bear, which kind of ran through and knocked down doors, because, after a little while pulling levers while it's fun, it's a little more fun to have a giant druid bear, come knock them down. Or if you're going to do a big death wall, why not make it a kobold driving a little gelatinous cube? Because we can, because it's DDO and it's a lot of fun. It's great. It's a great opportunity. It's really neat, and the players have been awesome for so long, and essentially the community has been great and have been nice enough to support us for 10 years, and we're still going strong, so it's super awesome.
All right, so unfortunately you didn't realize this is also a roast, because I'm going to out you as the guy who worked on Handwraps.
Oh, yeah. The story about Handwraps was kind of funny. We were getting ready to work on Monks. It was me, and we had an engineer there at the time, and as the way it was at that moment, it was right before we went free-to-play, and there wasn't as much support at that time for the project, and so we were trying to get it done in a really quick manner and in the best method that we could think of, and there's been some bumps along the roads, and coming back, I still get razzed about it.
Yeah, so, the community often has heard the line from folks like myself saying that they aren't really the same as weapons. Can you elaborate on that? How do they differ from weapons? What's their deal?
So essentially how Handwraps work is because of the way that the monk bonuses work in code, it essentially sets it up so that they don't work in the same, they don't go through the same code path that normal weapons go through. It was a decision made by the engineer who was working on it, so I am passing the buck a little bit, and he won't be here, so you can't quite roast him about it. Nice. But essentially, as a part of it, it was the fact that it was a two-handed weapon with different bonuses, and it still had to make sure that you could keep key and all of that sort of stuff, right, and work in those specific systems. I know that there have been some trials and tribulations over the years, and if I had my druthers, we would have redone the system and reset it up, but occasionally we made decisions which, for the long-term health of stuff, didn't go quite as well as they could have.
I believe it's called the realities of game development.
Oh yeah. It's good intentions, not enough time, and a bunch of creative people trying to do the best that they can with limited resources. Yeah. You sometimes get that.
Not only, I am giving you a hard time here, but, at the same time, Handwraps are an intrinsic part of Monk, and the reason people sometimes gnash their teeth on it a little bit is because they also love the Monk. and
Oh.
they like the hand wraps and all that sort of thing. But you've also had the chance to like you said, like work on Grim and Barrett. I mean, some of the core systems, frankly, of DDO, some of the backbone are some of your projects as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way back to we did some of the work that I did was randomized loot from like level 16 to level 20, and also sort of the progression as we moved up to level cap. I did I did some work on some of the settable trap stuff. I also did. You kind of bounce around and did a lot of things. I was a part of the different group actually, which was sort of a part of the original systems group that worked on the free-to-play transition. And I mean, some of that went a little bumpy. One of the loot systems I had was used for a decent amount of time. It was both well and poorly received. It was the Dragon Touched Armor stuff, and that was sort of an interesting experience. I was somewhat happy with how that came out, but
Yeah, Dragon Touched Armor is cool. I mean, I think the one of the reasons it got a little flack at the time is due to the sort of random nature of it, but the actual system itself is really strong. That armor was the best in the game for quite a while.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the stories I'd keep on running into people at conventions and stuff like that. We'd go to PAX East and we'd have our player get together, and there'd be some players which came up to me and they'd be like, "Hey, so what you work on?" I was like, "Dragon Touched Armor," and they would be so angry at me. They'd be like, "It took me like 300 hours to get the stuff that I was looking for." I'm like, "So what armor are you wearing?" And they'd look down at their feet and shuffle a little bit, be like, "Dragon Touched Armor." I'm like, "Yeah, you see, the way that we kind of built that originally was the concept was that we wanted you to be able to make an upgrade, a decent set of armor, and then essentially have the opportunity to make your like reach and best of the best armor. Since then, also, it was interesting because that was following the first set of green steel and sort of the success of that system, and so we wanted to do something a little different with armor types.
Yeah.
But since then, I've been since I came back, I started getting a chance to work on dungeons, and something that I was interested in at the time, but the team was built in a slightly different way, and so I didn't get as much time or chance to do it. And so I've had a chance recently to do everything from I worked on a lot of the Night Revels quests. I helped set up a bunch of that stuff sort of while we were doing progression for stuff for Grim and Barrett, and that was a lot of fun, getting a chance to sort of look at how we could use the challenge system in a slightly different way and make a little more scaling available stuff. It was a lot of fun. It was very cool.
Cool. I think someone is maybe hearing a Canadian accent. Are you from Canada?
No.
I'm
I'm originally from Jersey,
okay.
and so I've kind of come through New Jersey and then bopped all around up and down the eastern seaboard and out in the west coast for a little bit.
So, can we talk a little bit about your game history? Has it always been with Turbine, or have you been working for some other companies as well?
So I've worked for a total of 4 different companies. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any of them. Way back when, I started working on a small MMO. It was called Rubies of Eventide. It was many, many years ago out of a small game system or a game studio in New Jersey. That didn't quite take off how we wanted it to. I ended up working with Eladrin there, actually, and that's sort of how I got into it. And then after that studio kind of fell apart and came through, I had a couple of years in which I wasn't working in the industry, and then I came back and started working at Turbine as a QA person on the Lord of the Rings online launch. And then following that, I got hired to work for Eladrin on DDO, and I was on DDO for like about a year and a half. And then I went over to Lotro, and I worked on content and small group instances there. Following that, I went to Red 5 Studios. I worked on Firefall for a bit. I did encounter work over there, and then I worked at Carbine Studios, because working at 2 different places with Ainz at the end was kind of funny. I got a chance to work at on WildStar for about a year and a half, and I did a lot of monster creation, and I did some dungeon stuff. I did some tutorial work and things of that sort. And then from there, I came back to work on DDO because I got the opportunity. I missed the coast. I missed the people. I've known Severlin as friend-wise for years and years and years, and getting the opportunity to work with him was great, and getting a chance to kind of meet and catch back up with the team. It was interesting because there was only one or two people involved in the team, which was here from when I originally was here, and so it was kind of great getting caught up and meeting all the new folks. It's been fun.
Cool, cool. Anything else you want to add here?
Uh, Happy 10th anniversary. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons Online's been an amazing step and a lot of fun. I've always thought that the dungeon content is some of the most interesting and most diverse things that I've seen in the entire industry. I mean, the dungeon content, while a lot of it is running through the cleverness and sort of the ability to do problem solvings and jump puzzles and all of those types of things, have been things that I find near and dear to my heart, and something that you don't get in every other game. I mean, I think that the players and the player community has been great for years. I know that sometimes they're a little, harsh, and they're very passionate about kind of how they feel of the different things that we're working on and what we're doing. But it's one of those things is that we're glad that we see that passion and we see people caring that much. It's so important, and it's been such a pleasure getting the opportunity to work on this project.
Yeah. Great, great. Thank you very much for taking some time with me this
a
afternoon. I
problem.
really appreciate it. It's nice to hear from you.
And I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoy the new dungeon, and have some fun during this fine event. All right, guys, take care.
Great, thank you. What am I doing on the